Good evening, everyone. I am Chris, joined once again with Celebrimbor. No, everything in Middle-earth once again. The lads are back to discuss The Rings of Power, Season 2, Episode 6. Where is he? Very perplexing title, but there we go. We're 2 episodes away from the finale, which seems like it's come very quick, and that's because they dumped 3 episodes out at once. I know I keep saying it. So maybe a blessing that Rings of Power Seasons 2 is almost wrapping up and we're done for another year. But I don't know. We've had a laugh along the way, haven't we? There's been laughter, there's been tears, and there's been outright confusion, like Celebrimbor, which I'm sure we'll get into in this episode. But first and foremost, before we dive in, how you doing tonight, man? You doing okay?
In a lot of pain, to be honest. I watched this episode yesterday, and I'm still recovering. I made my notes today. It feels crazy, doesn't it, that we are 2 weeks away from it being done for another 2 years.
Oh, 2 years, of course, yeah, 2 years, yeah.
When you think about it as well, so we've got to wait another 2 years for that. So we've got another 3 seasons. So we've got 6 years left of the Rings of Power.
I'm going to be
Just
pushing
think
40.
of that. 6 more years of this. That's if it goes on for longer than that. I really highly doubt that it will.
Mm-hmm.
This episode, to be honest, really, really annoyed me. And I'm still recovering. I'm still angry. I've seen a couple of reviews. Someone said this episode is cooking. Well, it's fucking burning if it's cooking it, because it's absolutely dross.
I think you're going to be angry about this episode than I am. Like, I don't like this episode. I've got a lot of problems. There's a lot of angry emojis on these notes that I've got right here, but I don't know. I get the impression that you're going to be like guns toting in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, like I said off stream, I recorded my review earlier today, and I just thought, you know what? I'm just gonna no structure. I'm just gonna go off on one. I was picking off characters. I mean, oh boy, we get some good Galadriel moments. Leader of the Northern Armies and Celebrimbor. So there's a lot to get angry about, and there's also a lot of plagiarism. So can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah, there is. And I think that's where all of my angry emojis are. But yeah, I had a comment from Bath Time on my community post earlier saying that unfortunately he can't make it tonight, but he left his notes on there. And I don't know if this is the plagiarism that you're talking about, but it's the Adar and Galadriel scene. He's compared to a certain scene from Pirates of the Caribbean, which I never clocked, but it's very, very similar. So I don't know if that's the plagiarism you're talking about, or if you're talking about that one line.
I was talking about a certain Bombadil.
Yes, that one fucking line. We will get to it. We will get to it. The notes are ready. We're ready to go. I'm going to tear into it. Got a couple of people watching. So thank you to everyone watching at home. Please keep the conversation going. Feel free to drop your comments. We try and get to them all. Anon says 6 hours, but nothing has happened. Yeah, we mentioned this last week in that, yeah, we're 2 episodes away. Well, 2 episodes and it's all done. Season 2 is done. 6 episodes in, and it feels like we haven't covered any ground. It feels like really not much has happened. But then in some respects, everything's happening and things are happening too quick. It's this weird in-between of, yeah, you really harken back and think we haven't really accomplished much ground. And then you think, oh, well, you know, the rings are we've almost done all of the rings in one season. And it's just nuts. Like, slow it down a little bit. But
it doesn't make sense how they've done the Dwarven rings within one episode, yet the rings of men are so troublesome.
Time. Yeah.
I
don't think we're gonna see the bearers of the 9, because casting wise, they've got to lock 9 people down, and if they're going to be sticking around, they need to be 9 prolific actors, I guess, or substantial actors if they're going to be the Nazgul and they're going to be a big focus. I just thought we haven't seen the Dark Wizard. We haven't seen Kieran Hines. What's he doing? He's fucked up. I keep thinking like, oh yeah, there was that storyline dropped. Oh yeah, there was these characters dropped, and I'm sure we'll find out, won't we? HLB says, I hope we get all 5 seasons, only to see how stupid this can get. Well, we're going to keep going with it anyway, regardless. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll be pushing 40. That is depressing.
HLB, stop being a troll. Stop being a hater.
Yes.
You know, we're all here to be positive. This is a positive ring of power space, isn't it?
We should, for like one episode, just completely flip the script and just completely shill the hell out of it.
Yes. But you know what we should do for season 3 before the premiere? Let's shill it so they give us tickets to the premiere.
Oh my God.
Go on the carpet and just ask the important questions like, where's Waldrig? That's the new Where's Waldo? We want Waldrig back.
Oh, I love it. Right. Dive into the episode. We open with a scene that has no fucking payoff and never comes up again in the whole rest of the episode. We open with Arondir, and he's running through the woods. He's trying to... Well, we don't really... Is he trying to make it to Eregion? Because I get the impression that he only realizes he needs to go to Eregion when he finds that little bit of... that scrap of cloth with a really... Well, it's not even a map of Eregion, is it? It's like a picture of it. So... Yeah. If he didn't know where he was going, he's kind of fucked. He's like, okay, I guess that looks like Eregion. I don't know the way. It's not like a dot-to-dot, you know, a map of a place where he can get his bearings. And he can overhear a couple of orcs from like, it seems like a mile away. But then some orcs just sneak up on him from behind. I'm like, well, hang on. If you've got like supersonic hearing, like Legolas, what do your elf ears hear, I guess, and he can like hear orcs from ages away. How do orcs sneak up on him? But they do, and yeah, he finds this scrap of cloth, and that's it. That's it for old Arondir in this episode. That's it.
Yeah. Scene number 1 that pissed me off because it's straight away. What are the chances of this random bunch of orcs have got the plan for the battle, literally detailed down? And like you said, like, how the hell did he not hear him? He's got all this sensitive hearing and nothing. And where was he going? Like you said, I didn't think of that. Where was he running?
Yeah, it's almost like the attack has begun. And he's because I was trying to remember where did we last leave him? It was that really thrilling storyline with Theo. Theo was there, and the Ents were there, and Estrid got smacked into a stone, and Isildur's just getting cooked. That's all I remember. I don't remember Arondir sort of bombing off in haste to try and get somewhere, or maybe I've already forgotten that scintillating storyline from a couple of episodes ago.
Well, he said the last time we saw, he was speaking to Theo, and he said, "Oh, my revenge is with Adar. Like he's going to find him and fight him." But you know, how far has he ran? Were they still in the Southlands?
Did he know they were heading to Eregion, like this orc army?
Well, everyone knows Adar's plan and Sauron's plan, apparently, in the show. And yeah,
why were these orcs so far from home then? The ones that he finds with the piece of cloth, were they like stragglers? Were they trying to make their way to Eregion and got lost along the way? Because there was only a handful of them, wasn't there? There was just like 1 or 2 of them in the woods.
Ah, no, we've got more sympathetic orcs because these orcs are deserters.
Oh, do they say that? I must have missed that.
Yeah,
my bad.
I'll get the quote. So they say that they don't want to follow Adar. Anything's better than dying to help Adar chase a ghost. So they know he's after Sauron. All right, then. Like, oh boy, there's something later on to do with Sauron that really annoyed me, but we'll get on to that. But yeah, we get more sympathetic orcs and they die.
Yes.
And it's weird because we get no other scenes with Arondir. They've just chucked this in. Why?
So random. It almost felt like, well, we know where that payoff's leading to. We've seen the trailer, we've seen the clips. We've got a pretty good idea of how it's going to pay off and when it's going to pay off. But it's just structurally, if you're composing an episode, why would you throw this in? It's almost like to tide you over. It's because maybe it's like almost like a pickup or a reshoot or something where they were thinking in the editing room, they're going to have their big payoff with Arondir, and they thought, oh, hang on, we need to set up how he actually gets there in the first place. So he doesn't just show up at Eregion and save the day. We need to set that up, but maybe set that up at the beginning of your next episode where the payoff's going to be. As it is structurally, like, it's just bewildering. Like, and I think I've got that issue across the whole season so far, because I'm thinking, not that I really want to see Isildur or Estrid or Theo in particular, but I kept thinking, So what are we doing with those characters? We're just like spinning our wheels with those characters. Like again, like the Dark Wizard, the Moth Ladies. It feels like you build the characters up and then you just drop them for episodes, and we're not moving. Nothing's going anywhere. And I thought it was just a bewildering choice to open with this episode because, as we said, it has no bearing on pretty much anything in the rest of this episode.
Yeah, and we've established that they don't like using horses to travel.
Everyone's running. Why?
Everyone's running. Why? And they're running at a good speed. I mean, we don't know timelines as well. Again, we don't know, when Isildur's timeline is matching with the Eregion timeline. We don't know.
It's all over the place, isn't it? It's all over the place, the timeline. Well, Sauron must do some running later on as well because he teleports to a new location.
Yeah, he's got a lot of Ubers. He's going around. Awful.
So just got a couple of comments here. I'll just bring these up real quick and then we'll crack on. Anon says, hopefully Waldring will be resurrected and become the Witch King for his role in establishing Mordor. Yes, I'm here for it. Let's go. I just don't want him to be resurrected in the same manner that Sauron was, where he's just a gelatinous symbiote Spider-Man globule that just falls out of a mountain, which is still one of the most hilariously pathetic images I've seen all season.
Oh, we do get more, is it rats in this episode? So who knows? Is that Sauron shape-shifting?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Maybe.
Oh
no, is Isildur going to accidentally impregnate the mulatto girl and that child be Aragorn's ancestor? Oh no, he's right.
They are apparently going to be husband and wife at the end of the show.
Oh, God damn it.
I mean, you made a good point, actually. How the hell are they going to fit their storyline in when the last 2 episodes are battle episodes? They've got to complete the Rings of Men.
Yeah, surely it can't be 2 episodes. It can't be.
No, it can't. But I don't know how. And we've still got to fit in the Celebrimbor flashback sequence of him crying. How are they going to do that?
The thumbnail is already set for that. Which, if that's next episode or if it's episode 8, that is going to be the thumbnail for the final stream.
I've got an update. Well, not an update. I have messaged the Waldring actor a while ago, and he's still not replied or seen it.
We'll keep trying.
We'll keep spamming him.
I thought he was going to say, I have messaged the Waldring, and I thought that was his name, the Waldring.
It took some searching to get him. He's not a Brad Pitt of the acting world, but hopefully he replies.
Oh, this is a good point. HLB says it's also funny because they say Galadriel has been looking for Sauron for thousands of years, and it turns out he was just chilling out as a blob.
Yeah, how the hell's he put all these marks of Sauron, all this master plan, when he's been a blob?
Yeah, and how did he kill her brother? That's a very good... Oh, was that at the...
Is that the
War of Wrath?
I think that was first stage.
Okay, we can allow that maybe. That can still happen, but Christ. Right, everyone's favourite Celebrimbor. And he's just gone off his rocker a little bit, isn't he, here? So he's pissed off at his workers. He's getting irate. He's getting angry. He tells them they need more mithril in the rings, and it's like, but there is no more mithril. We dug it all up, or we bought it all. There isn't any left. And it's like he's got Alzheimer's, and I'm thinking, like, this has come out of nowhere. If you want to show this, degradation of this human, this slow process into madness, they really haven't done a good job of it over the last 6 episodes. The last time we saw Celebrimbor, he was, giving a speech towards the elves and the dwarves, saying how fine it is to work together as friends. And then we just see him at the end where things are getting to him and he puts his head in his hand. But this, it's like he's a completely different character. He's Sauron's setting him up and making him forgetful and pretending like he's lost his smithing hammer and things like that. I feel so phony. This is the stuff that feels really rushed, and it's just really pathetic. Celebrimbor's always been a pathetic character in the show, but this is kind of hard to watch. If you're a fan of the character of Celebrimbor from the lore and the novels, I actually think he's probably, out of all the characters, he's the one that's been the most hard done by, I think.
I 100% agree. I get Galadriel scenes are bad, don't get me wrong, but Celebrimbor scenes really anger me. And I love the fact that we were joking about him having Alzheimer's and they chucked it in. And I've got a theory for why they've done that. Because they target that Merdania, is it? I think it's because we don't know the character's name. We keep on forgetting it. And they're like, how can we remind the audience about this great character who Celebrimbor's got a great relationship with? You know, it's his apprentice. So it's like, oh, how can we do that? Oh, he's forgetful. What's your name again? And I love how it's played as we, as the audience, are meant to feel sad, shocked, like, oh my god, he's forgot Merdania. It's like, I don't care. I don't give a shit. And what's this all about the Mithril? Because 1 minute ago they stopped the production, so they didn't have any Mithril. That's what caused the downfall of the dwarfs. Then the next minute they've got all the Mithril in the world to make the dwarven rings, and now they've run out of Mithril. I know they've got this deal going on or some crap like that, but surely how much has he wasted and can't he rework it?
Well, you see like piles of rings at the side, don't you? Where he's like, no, not good enough. And he's like chucking them all to the side and they've burned through it all. What the show hasn't done at all is to really show why Celebrimbor is considered a great smith. I mean, we always joke about it and I always keep coming back to it, but season 1, he didn't even know what a fucking alloy was. He had to be told what that was. But even within this series, I don't get why. Every time I watch it, I'm thinking, why can't Sauron do this himself? What valuable piece of information, real valuable piece of information, has Celebrimbor given Sauron to make the rings? It feels like, well, Sauron could just crack on and make the 9 himself at this point. What is the great Celebrimbor going to tell Sauron that he possibly needs to do? He's like, oh, add a dash more of Mithril in there. And it's like, that's it. That he's the greatest smith in Middle Earth, Celebrimbor, and the show just has not exemplified that at all, not even in the slightest.
No, and I 100% agree. Like, what makes him as special as Merdania?
Yeah, exactly.
Really, there's nothing special about him. And they play it off that he's withholding all of this information from Sauron. But Sauron helps him make the rings.
Yeah.
Like the Elven rings. You know, he had a hand in it, so he should know. All he's done is add Mithril to it. He's not done anything special.
And now he's all gung-ho and he's ready to make the 9 when, you know, the last episode he was like, no, I couldn't possibly. And Sauron's like, oh, please. And he's like, oh, fine, I suppose I will make the 9.
This is where the argument falls down, is the fact that in the lore, so the Elven rings are the last rings that he creates. So it kind of is his perfection of the Elven rings. The problem is that he's already created the perfection, and now they're trying to work a way of how his work has decayed because they've gradually got worse. So they've just wrote themselves into a hole that they're trying to solve, but they can't. It's so clunky. And like I said earlier, you've got the Dwarven rings being done in 1 episode, and then the Rings of Men, you can't get them done. And then you've got them all, the Dwarven rings are evil because he's held them. Yet he's worked on the Elven rings. It's just confusing. They've made something that should be fairly simple confusing.
Yeah.
And so unreliable as a narrative. But yeah, here's your Master Smith. And I love the on-screen chemistry between Celebrimbor and Sauron. What a bromance. Fucking hell. And Sauron's meant to be the Walter White. I keep on thinking about it.
I know.
What is Walter White about this? Like, come on.
It's really disheartening because in the hands of a great writer and 10 episodes to play with, 8 episodes to play with, you could do a great slow burn manipulation storyline of Anatar over time corrupting Celebrimbor and done in a real, like, actually complex and intelligent way that's really compelling to watch and also really sad. As it is, Celebrimbor's always been a fucking idiot from day one. Like, the simplest of things. It's like, how are you... Oh yeah, he's basically talking like Satan in one episode, and then he goes like, "Oh, actually, I'm an angel from like the fucking netherworld of the West." And he's like, "Oh yes, your friend, come in. We're friends, aren't we?" Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so shit. But the thing that made me really laugh about this scene is right after this, Anatar's kind of getting pally with all the other elves, and he's confiding in them. There's more Merdania flirting or whatever she's called. They're still dialing that up. But they go outside, and the elves wheel in this corpse they found. And this body's had I think it's the name of the episode, isn't it? It's Where Is He?
Yeah.
Carved into the fucking chest. It's really grim, it's really grisly, and they wheel it in. And then Sauron says, this is, by the way, they bring this into a busy courtyard filled with many, many extras. And Sauron says, show this to no one. Yes. I'm like, everyone can fucking see. You've just brought a corpse in. Like, what? How are you hiding this?
Mate, that's my number one note for this scene. Like, what the fuck? Like, you've got gods watching. Yeah. Everyone can see this. Oh, everyone show knows. No one. Bury it. What the fuck? Like, you idiot. It's in broad daylight.
Yeah.
Come on. And I love the fact that, you know, all the workers are concerned. And have they forgotten the last episode that Merdane is like, oh, Sauron's been here. He's been along here all this time.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, this guy who's now in charge now, everything's fucking up. No one's like, oh, yeah, he's dodgy. Awful. Absolutely awful. And yeah, that scene cracked me up. But it's like, here you go. Don't tell anyone.
And it's such a simple fix. Like, if you want to keep that, if you insist on keeping that scene, have Anatar like retire to his chambers, and someone walks in and goes like, my lord, may I have a word? And then leads him to like a chamber where they've got the body or something. And then he just says like, show this to no one, speak of this to no one, where they're in isolation somewhere, not in. That is so, how does no one, this is what annoys me. How does no one pick up on this? This is like, notice it instantly that things don't marry up, that there's inconsistencies, that it's just so incompetent, just incompetence everywhere. I don't get how that gets past the director, the scriptwriter, the editor, or do they just not give a shit? Do they really just give that less of a fuck that we get?
I think it's because they're shit.
Yeah.
They can't handle it. But that's such an easy scene. I don't get how you could fuck that up.
Mm-hmm.
And like you say, they're shipping this Merdania and Sauron. I don't care. Why
they're doing that whole like he sweeps her hair behind her ear, they brush the hat. I'm like, oh,
just think right that Sauron's only in here because she said to Celebrimbor that it's raining and he's cold.
Yeah,
what the fuck, man? And I don't know what role she's gonna have going forward. I don't know.
There's going to be something at work, definitely. I mean, she was invisible in a couple of episodes ago, wasn't she? Wafting a hammer around, like, whoa, whoa, like whatever was going on. Yeah,
but what's her role? Like seriously, I think she'll take over from Celebrimbor. She'll be the new Master Forge.
They're going to have bigger plans for her. Definitely, she's not in this for no reason. There's going to be a bigger purpose to her. Yeah, any excuse that we can make Celebrimbor look completely incompetent and terrible and completely emasculated, they're going to do it. So there we go. HLB says, every time I see Celebrimbor portrayed as an insecure guy in the closet, I have to think of how he was portrayed in the games as this super cool character, and it's just sad. Yeah, that was the Shadow of Mordor games, wasn't it? Get Celebrimbor in there, I think. Doesn't he? I don't know if it's the main character, if it's Celebrimbor. Doesn't he throw himself into like an eternal combat with Sauron? Does he like make another ring or something in the game? I know they play fast and loose with the lore, but I have seen what Celebrimbor looks like in the games, and it's like, yeah, that's how you imagine him to look. And this isn't. I mean, well, look
at this. This grandpa.
Yes.
Look at him.
This is what we have to work with here. Anon says, when he said, what's your name again? He was speaking for the whole audience.
Yes. 100%.
Well, I was like, oh, fuck, I've been saying the name wrong. I was saying Merdania. It's like, Merdania. I was like, oh, it's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
I was like, yeah, I don't care. I'm keeping it the same for my reviews. I don't care.
Dirty Sanchez says this episode cost $56 million.
Oh,
The IRS hates this trick. I mean, God, that could have gone
ouch.
to world hunger. That could have gone to anything, couldn't it? My God.
Wow, speaking of world hunger, we've got the next scene's going to be fun.
Yeah, let's talk about it then. Let's jump into it. So I think someone mentioned it earlier, but this was what I was referring to earlier. Bath Time left a comment and said it is ripping off the Barbossa and Elizabeth Swann scene from Pirates of the Caribbean. And I totally didn't clock that, but he's 100% right.
I can't remember the scene. What happens?
And you know the bit where he first reveals that he's cursed and he's prepared like all this banquet for her, and there's like a stuck pig and apples, and he's like, "Oh, try the apples too," and she's like eating everything. It's a very similar setup. I'd say I didn't clock Pirates of the Caribbean, but now I've heard that from a few people. It's 100% right. I went Texas Chainsaw Massacre with this. I don't know if you've ever seen the original, but where she's like strapped to the chair in like the inbred nut house family, and they've got all this like weird fucked up table. It reminded me of that, to be honest. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a much better film than The Rings of Power.
It's a better Rings of Power adaptation.
Yes. But yeah, go on, man. So we've got Adar and Galadriel.
Yes, and they've got grapes, they've got raspberries, they've got fucking chicken, they've got everything in the Southlands that has been completely obliterated. Yeah.
Well, no, you see, volcanic soil is very fertile. So in that time, they've grown all these wonderful crops. That's why.
Yeah, it's fertile in about, what, 300 years? Not a year. Well, not even a year. We
can skip a few millennia. It's fine.
We skip it, you know. How the hell have they got all that food? Seriously. They're not trading with anyone.
My only guess is maybe they've pillaged it, like, along the way. They've, like, ransacked villages on their way there, maybe.
I get that, but why would they be storing like grapes and that?
That's true. Yeah,
they're orcs. They shouldn't be fucking going for the finer food.
I just imagine Adar eating like a cherry tomato, like Denethor, and just exploding.
Oh, mate, this scene really made me angry. The fact that fucking Adar says to Galadriel that, you know, Sauron's wooed you over and, you know, he's put a spell on her, and she says that she resisted him. I'm like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
The whole point of the show is that you fucking caved in. You caused this.
Mm-hmm.
And she's got the cheek to go, I resisted. Like, shut up.
Well, yeah, the note that I've got is, you yielded to him. I resisted. I was like, didn't Adar stab the ever-loving shit out of Sauron in like a Julius Caesar moment? Like, if anything, he didn't yield. Well, at that point, he thought he finished him off, right?
Yeah.
He took action. He did something about it. It didn't work, but he didn't know at the time.
And, so they're talking, aren't they, about, you know, how Sauron's influence over them, how they've both been fooled by it. Yeah. And then, you know, they're having a conversation, and she delivers this line. It's like something, orc. It's like, what the heck? Like, why is everyone just rolling their R's? Seriously, it's awful. And somehow, Adar knows who Halbrand is.
Yes.
Knows that Halbrand is Sauron. First question, why the fuck did you let him go? Mm-hmm. You want to kill him. That's your whole goal. When did you suspect that Halbrand's Sauron? Seriously. Because if it's when you had him in custody, then why have you let him go? He's not manipulated anyone. So what's the crack there? Mm-hmm. Is he stupid? Like, seriously. And there's another bit as well that really annoyed me, that apparently Galadriel knows that Sauron's making the rings in Eregion. Apparently, she knows that he's doing this. So she knows definitely that he's there, which she shouldn't know, and that he's working on rings.
Mm-hmm.
This is what really annoyed me, is that the writers are basically just telling you the story now through the characters. They're not even showing it to us. They're saying it. It's like, oh yeah, Halbrand, Sauron, from Adar, who doesn't have a fucking clue. Oh yeah, Sauron's been working on the rings in Eregion by Galadriel, who hasn't been in Eregion, and no messages have gone out of Eregion. Like, how do they know? I don't get it. This story writing is dross.
They do that for the sake of convenience, just to catch things up, whether or not it's congruent with what the characters should know, the information they should be privy to. They just don't care. It's like, well, we need the story to go here, so he needs to know that Halbrand is Sauron now.
And why the hell does he want Galadriel to be a part of their team? Like, why?
He hasn't even got, so he says like, oh, you're an ally of ours. And it's like, okay, well, we know that she can take out like apparently an entire army of orcs single-handedly. But like, so he just gets Galadriel on his side. She hasn't bought an army. He hasn't like, right, Galadriel, we're going to have you as an ally. I need you to bring your army. I need you to send word to whoever to bring your army. He's just bringing her along for the ride.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, great. She's going to accomplish so much. Do you want to know the thing that really annoyed me about this scene, though? It's a small detail to some, most fans watching it wouldn't even give a shit. Apparently, the crown, Sauron's crown, the one that Adar has, is Morgoth's crown. It's the Iron Crown. And I was thinking, well, Morgoth's a big chungus, right? He's a big god. The crown's going to be fucking huge. So they circumnavigate that by saying, oh, it was melted down and to refit Sauron. I'm like, well, clearly the writers, big shocker, I know, didn't read the lore as to what actually happened with the fucking Iron Crown. But so you have the whole, they mention like, oh, it contained the 3 Silmarils and whatnot, and the Tolkien shills out there are probably just, coming over their screens like, oh my god, they mentioned the Silmarils. And I'm like, well, hang on. So yes, they did. They contained the Silmarils. But once Morgoth was arrested, the crown was like beaten down into a collar for his neck when he was cast into the void. So there shouldn't even be a crown because Morgoth is still imprisoned until, the Dagor-Dagorath, if that's even canon, and he's going to break free and everything. So there should be no Iron Crown. They kind of forgot that detail a little bit, but it's fine. We mentioned the Silmarils, folks. Yeah, we've read the books. We respect in the lore.
Yeah, we've mentioned Morgoth. There we go.
Yeah,
we've ticked the box.
Mm-hmm. It hurts, man. It just hurts.
In her acting again, my God.
So bad. She hasn't changed that. In fact, would you say she's stayed the same as season 1, or do you think she's even more hateful this season? She's probably about the same, I'd say. Yeah. Like, she hasn't evolved or changed. Like, her character hasn't gone through any kind of growth.
No, but they'll say, I don't get how they say they've made her more humble.
Have they fuck?
Has she faced any consequences?
No.
Has she sat back and gone, you know what? It's my fault.
They tried at the beginning of the season. You have Elrond trying to, call her out for all of her bullshit. But then that went nowhere. She just gaslit and deflected, and we move on. No atonement for what she did.
The problem is as well, you see in the last episode that Elrond's like, oh, Galadriel was right. So, all chances of her facing accountability is gone. She's awful.
Mm-hmm.
Dross.
Love some of the comments here. Talking about Galadriel. Where the fuck is her husband? Come get your bitch, mate.
Exactly. I mean, she hunted Sauron for 1,000 years because her brother died, but her husband, nah, fuck him off.
Yeah.
Come on.
Celebrimbor is around thousands of years later. Right now, he's probably faked his death to have a break from her. Yeah. I think that's probably right. Right, and we cross over the seas to Numenor, where Ar-Pharazôn is trying Elendil for treason, but says that he can go free if he renounces his crimes. Elendil initially renounces them, but he doesn't accept Ar-Pharazôn as his rightful king. So Elendil is scheduled to be executed, sacrificed to. I put sacrifice to the Kraken. We later find that it's called the Sea Worm, and we kind of know where this is heading if we've seen the trailer.
Good old Muriel.
Look, you've got this whole stockpile of images saved, haven't you? Ready to go. Like, I know exactly the part.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Sorry to throw you off your tail.
That's fine. Yeah, right. Numenor, go. What do you reckon to all this then?
A load of horse shit, and I'll tell you why. So Elendil is shit because in the last episode, he's completely ignored Muriel, that conversation where they were saying, go along with it as much as you can. Your future is key for the line of Numenor. You know, it might not be here in Numenor, but you're the key to the survival. Well, he's not listened, and he's basically done a Ned Stark, to be honest. He's like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm gonna stand here and I'm gonna protest. I was just thinking, like, what an awful father in a way. Like, your daughter's there by herself, and you're literally willing to die just to leave her in the hands of these people. I thought, Farazon, he's not been the worst part of the show. I don't think he's been too bad. The actor for Elendil is good, but you know, they're trying him for treason, and what's he got to gain by saying, right, I'm going to go down with it? You're just basically fucking all the plans up. But however, it works out, and they've done it for a reason, because good old Stevie Wonder over there is going to come in for the rescue later on. But I love how the fact that Kermit, so I thought that it was our Farazon who sent him the last episode to go and, you know, disrupt the worshippers. But no, apparently he acted on his own will, free will, apparently. So our Farazon's annoyed at him. I'm surprised he didn't chuck that comment back at him saying, your mother, while she was breastfeeding, you said that you are going to die a horrible death. Like, every time they are on screen, they just say this line every time. But I do really like the fact that he broke his arm or dislocated his shoulder and was able to still penetrate armor and ring mail and kill someone with one arm with a heavy sword. But yeah, I thought it's a really poor scene. Again, you know what happens to Elendil, so there's no tension between there. It's just forced, in my opinion. This daughter, I still don't know her name. Like, they're trying to make you feel sympathy for her. It's like, no chance, you've not built her up as a sympathetic character. Like, I don't care. Why all of a sudden are you painting her as evil? And then the next minute you're going, oh, okay. She feels sorry now. What?
Yeah, the daughter character is just absolutely contemptible for me this season.
100%. And bearing in mind the last season she was an apprentice, and then you have an awkward shot of Elendil. He just walks for ages, really slowly, just pointing at our Farazon, saying, I will not follow him. And he's just like, what are you doing?
Oh no, he's got like the handcuffs, hasn't he? He's like putting like gangster
like a West Side like gun pose. It's like, what are you doing? And like, no resistance. He could have ran to him. No, he just walked slowly. And yeah, that was the end of that. But apparently, I love this now, that we've got a big monster that apparently holds the will of the Valar.
Yeah.
This is the judge.
Some nondescript fucking sea monster that just, you know, eats and hunts for a living.
Yeah. Is now almighty. It's like, okay, I decide who goes free. What?
It's just Anon says the pointing was like a Simpsons gag.
It was absolutely awful, man. And yeah, the Numenorians are just god awful. And just think, right, it's either next season, which I think they teased at, Halbrand will probably be in Numenor the next season, and he'll probably appear as Halbrand. You've got to think they've got to rush all of that Numenorian plot next season.
They're going to be handling it because it's a similar kind of setup, isn't it? Where, well, he goes to Mordor, and then Ar-Pharazôn gets really bold and leads an army. I'm trying to remember this from the Silmarillion. Leads an army across the land, literally pretty much goes to the front door, calls out Sauron. Sauron comes out willingly and is arrested and taken back to Numenor. And then I think it's like over the course of maybe 3 or so years, Sauron starts to manipulate. But if it's going to be written by the same writing team from this, we're going to have another Celebrimbor situation on our hands. Like, it's going to be the same setup of terrible writing. You know, Ar-Pharazôn's going to randomly start having Alzheimer's again midway through the season, and then we're going to have like a female consort who is like Ar-Pharazôn's advisor or something. Surely it's just going to be the same shit again.
Yeah. But you know what they'll do? Because like you say, we still got to have they've got to build the Temple of Morgoth. We've got to have all these sacrifices. What it'll be is they'll cut that out, the build up of that. It'll be season 3. We'll go straight into it. No development. Bang.
Yeah.
Straight in there. But yeah, I thought, again, not great. Not a great scene. This is one thing I know we try and get one positive per episode.
I've got one.
You got one.
I've got one later on. Now, I don't know if I can use this one because I feel like it's a positive that I have used in a previous episode. So, am I allowed to repeat it again, or do I need different positives every single episode?
A different one. Let's give you a task.
Oh, yeah. God.
I have
I've got to think on my feet now. Okay, we're midway through the episode. Well, the sure as shit ain't going to be one in the next scene because it's Gandalf and Tom Bombadil. So there ain't going to be a positive in that.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. Can I do it? Right, I'll try and think of one real quick. Just a couple of comments. HLB says, oh, an off topic, but clips. Please do start posting clips from these to your channel. Right now, the last videos is 1 year old. It looks like a dead channel. It will help the channel grow. Well, it groups it into videos and live streams, and I tend to do more live streams, so everything's going to be all in there. I don't know how to technology. I'm figuring this shit out as I go on. So, but yeah, it would be good to do clips if I can get some free time at some point. My free time's fairly limited, unfortunately. So, yeah, we'll see what we can do. But it would get good to get some clips on there, definitely. Dirty Sanchez says, looking at how they write father figures like Elendil, Karl Marx, etc., you really have to assume every single writer of the show has daddy issues. I think that's probably very likely.
Oh my God, Dirty Sanchez, thank you very much. You've reminded me on. It's not just Elendil or Karl Marx. Disa has daddy issues.
Yeah, I've written that down.
Oh my God, I forgot. Oh no.
It's perfect. It's so perfect. It's so accurate. It's not just a stereotype.
Oh my God, even more. Theo.
Yes.
He's not got a dad. There's another one.
Oh
Who else
God.
have we got?
Oh no, Nori has one, but she doesn't anymore because she left home.
Poppy's not got one.
No. There's a running theme here. We've cracked it. This is the cipher to the code of the show.
Yeah. Bad dads.
Bad.
Waldrick, he might have not had one. You never know.
That's it. That's his origin story right there.
Yes.
Right. Let's just rip the band-aid off. Gandalf and Tom Bombadil. Fuck me. Where do I start with this shit? So we open with Gandalf having a vision of Nori and some other stuff that's probably and some things that have not yet come to pass, but they probably will in the next 2 episodes. And he wakes up and he goes like, Nori! And then Tom Bombadil says, snoring? I wasn't snoring. And it's like, no, Nori. What? I'm like, humor, jokes, funny. Like, you just need someone on the corner of the screen holding up applause cards or, laughter cards at the bottom. Fuck's sake. So we're off to a flying start with that absolute clanger of a joke. And honestly, I think that's all I've got on that bit, because then we cut to, I've kind of grouped the next bits, because then it's like Nori and Mama Clump. I don't know if you've got any Tom Bombadil stuff here.
Yeah. so he mentions like, oh, sorry, I've just got the video up. It's just seeing Nori screaming.
Yeah.
So Tom mentions about how the servant of the secret fire. No, sorry, the secret fire is trying to talk to Gandalf.
Yeah, I guess it's like the Force or something now.
But I thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, I thought he accesses that through the ring that he gets given.
Well, the secret fire is that the same as the flame imperishable?
I'm not sure.
Because I thought that was the ability to sort of create, wasn't it? Let me have a look. Tolkien secret fire. Yeah, so the secret fire, also known as the flame imperishable, and the imperishable flame was Eru Iluvatar's mysterious power of creation. Yeah. Because it's, like Morgoth, Sauron, they can't create, they can only corrupt things. That's what the secret fire is. It's just that inner spirit, inner, force of creation. So I don't know what he's talking about when he's talking about that. Like it's a mystical force power he can unlock or learn. Because he should be imbued with that from the beginning.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, Tar says it's basically like the Holy Spirit kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So he's been in contact then with Gandalf.
Yes.
Tom knows about this. There's one thing I didn't get. So Tom says that Gandalf has failed every task that he's done. What task?
Yeah.
Like, literally, what has he failed? Like, seriously, what has the show implied that he's done wrong?
Gandalf.
Yeah.
He crash landed. Well, didn't he try and replenish an apple tree or something and almost murder everyone? I guess that was one task he failed. He was successful in killing the moth bitches in season 1. What else has he done? Help me out here. He blew Nori away, I guess, and Poppy.
Yeah, and somehow they survived.
Yeah, we're gonna write around that. We're gonna choose to ignore that part, that very crucial detail.
Fucking, these scenes with Tom Bombadil and Gandalf, we've not had many, and the season's nearly over, and he's meant to be his mentor.
Mm-hmm.
What's he teaching him? Because the next scene, we see him in Rune, and he's got to try find his Gand. Oh. And that's another thing, actually. Within the next 2 episodes, we will be getting his name reveal.
Oh, I know. I hate, like, I always say, like, the really forced pseudo-intellectual metaphors and stuff. Like, every line that Tom Bombadil says really pisses me off in this show. It's especially the one, we'll get to that line in a second, it's coming. But, like what you just said there about a staff, it's like, oh, well, a staff belongs to... I'm done. I'm done. Continue.
Get out, Sherman. Sherman store over here.
That fucking smile. Oh, I'm dead. I'm done.
Oh, man.
Fucking great.
It's the smile. Oh. I think you guys know what character this is.
Dorian Mama Clump.
Oh, man.
Underbad or whatever fucking name. Underbad Clump.
You know what, actually? So, are we grouping? Is the next scene? Is it these lot? Is it
Nori and Mama Clump? Yeah. And then it cuts to, then it cuts back to Bombadil and Gandalf after that. Yeah.
It's like that editing choice. Why?
Yeah.
Why have that gap between the scene?
Well, Bombadil at least has his blue jacket, and as Bath Time said, at least Tom was in his yellow boots before he did the first Batman homage of Disappearer, and Gandalf was looking at Staffordshire.
Hey, don't diss Staffordshire.
Say Staffordshire's not that bad, Christ.
No. Oh man.
Oh,
I actually have my positive of the episode. I thought that Mama Clump over here, I thought her acting was pretty good, to be fair. I thought her little bit was a good scene, a little bit. You felt a bit of sympathy and she wasn't degrading her husband.
no.
It felt nice, but then you've got Nori, whose face looked like she couldn't be fucking arsed. She was like, yeah, get on with it. I don't care. And it looks like Nori is going to be the Messiah. She's going to be the one to gather all of the hobbits and bring them to the Shire.
Of course she is. Of course
You
she
know,
is.
we have this talk where, you know, she's like, oh, we move every month.
Yeah, I wrote that down. I was like, wait, what? Every month? Like, I knew there were
Yeah.
nomadic, but Christ, every month.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like, where are you moving to?
And then
Every month.
Lenny Henry does his conga line, and they move to the next settlement.
No one goes off trail unless you're
And nobody
crippled.
walks alone.
Like,
Dun, dun,
you know, and
hey, yeah.
we have it where she's like, oh, you know, I just want to go and walk. And she's like, oh, no, we want to settle down. And then that's going to give her the idea. And I said in my review at the start that when you watch The Fellowship of the Ring and you see Frodo and you see Gandalf, that opening scene, and we see all of the Shire, you've just got to remember, thank Nori and Poppy for creating the Shire, for making that happen. Think of that.
Damn.
And
Just hurts, man. You know.
And
Just hurts.
For any single lads out there, have hope, because Poppy's got a boyfriend.
Hey, if fucking Rufio can pull anyone, Christ almighty, what happened in this scene? What they set this up from the first scene. It was like a love at first sight kind of bullshit when he first rocked up with his little rickshaw thing. Rufio's, I'm just going to call it, he's going to be called Rufio for this, I don't care. Rufio's parents never gave him a name until 2 years ago. So Rufio's got, well, probably mommy and daddy issues, actually, both. He's got some fucking issues. I mean, just take one look at him. That's all you need to. And yeah, Rufio and Poppy are a thing now. No setup, no conversation, and they kiss, and it's one of the most cancerous things I've ever seen in this show so far. And then there's a line where she says, like, did you just eat a lizard? I'm like, oh yeah, because these are like fucking gross, disgusting hobbits. Like, you've got the half-foots that are just like snacking on beetles and grubs and fucking blueberries all over their mouth. And then you've got these desert-dwelling fucks that are just eating lizards and gross things as well. I'm like, wow. We're a far cry away from the good, nice, homely hobbits of the Shire from the Lord of the Rings trilogy, aren't we?
Yeah, and you just think, why the hell have we got these scenes?
Yeah.
Just think of what other things we could be focusing on. And we got fucking Harvey Price over here.
I love this comment as well. Rufio Puffin, Merry Mac and Cheese.
Yes, that's a good one, that is. Oh, I'm nicking that for future videos.
Also, there's apparently a place in Staffordshire called Stourbridge. Oh no.
Oh god.
It's true.
Ugh. But like, who cares? Like, they've literally had one scene, and one of those, no, they've had two scenes, sorry, and one of those scenes they were in chains together, and now apparently they're in love.
Ugh.
Because Bear McCreary played a little jingle when they looked at each other, and it's like, oh, visual storytelling over here. Who cares about these, seriously?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what their storyline's going to be? Their main plot point of this season is they're going to have a fight with the Tusken Raiders and the Dark Wizard. When you think about that, come on, they are going to have a last stand in the Store's home. What the fuck?
Is it going to be like Home Alone? They're going to make like loads of convoluted traps around the place.
Mate, can you imagine this? Oh yeah, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? A little montage of like them setting it up. But I've got a feeling, and can you imagine if this happens, where they attack, let's say the Dark Wizard, and they do like the scouring of the Shire,
Oh
where all
yes.
the hobbits start stabbing the Dark Wizard, and like he turns into a rainbow.
Yeah, of course, yeah. It would. Well, this show it would be a fucking rainbow, wouldn't it? My God.
Like honestly, I'm worried that somehow we're gonna be having the Dark Wizard fight in these. Oh god.
Oh no. I think they're definitely gonna have a fight with the Tusken Raiders because the Tusken Raider was like, "We'll be back tomorrow," and is he back tomorrow? I don't know because Arondir's running across all of Middle Earth. Orcs are marching on Eregion. Sauron's turning day into night, the night into day. Have the Tusken Raiders already showed up? I don't know what's happening. Are the Tusken Raiders all dead? Are there any more? I don't know what's happening. I've completely forgotten that absolute gem of a storyline. I'm going to make an observation about the set here. Now, this is an observation, and I realize what I'm about to say might be misconstrued as massively racist, and it's not. It's just an observation of the set. But it looks very cheap, and I kind of want to say it looks like something out of Planet of the Apes. Now, I'm not saying that as a dig. I'm just saying that about the set before anyone calls me out. This is just like the sets in general in this. This is meant to be like a super expensive show. And honestly, it looks like a cheap little dinky theatre production set, like this little hovel that they're in, this like little sort of like sandy cave and like the rocks and a couple of props here and there. Like you don't see the money on screen at all.
No.
And like how I guess they're sort of like underground, aren't they? But you got like the little holes in the rock and whatnot. Like it looks like something out of like Planet of the Apes or like an old Star Trek show. Like the old original 60s one.
Yeah, and when there was a comment, wasn't there, earlier on that said from Dirty Sanchez, this episode cost 56 million.
Yeah.
Where the hell has that gone?
Someone's been like embezzling money somewhere.
100%.
Tax write-off or something.
Yeah, it's gone into a corner shop. Because I don't get how they've paid for this. And like you said, I don't know how they're growing anything there, in the desert. It just looks awful.
Yeah, totally agree. Right, now we cut back to Bombadil, and we're going to get the line.
Oh, God.
The fucking line. So Bombadil leads Gandalf to a dead forest and tells him to go out there and find your staff. The staff calls to the wizard and not the wizard to the staff, and some mystical fucking metaphor that he just pulls out of his ass that day that sounds pseudo-intellectual. And it kind of reminded me of you must choose wisely, like the whole Last Crusade kind of thing with the Holy Grail. And then you have the line, many that die deserve life, many who live deserve death. Can you give it to them? So when Gandalf pulls out what is probably one of my favorite lines, one of the most heartfelt lines, one of the most just lines that you mull over, you can apply to real life and stuff you think about. That came from Tom Bombadil. That was not a Gandalf original. That was plagiarized. That was not the intellect of Gandalf in that moment, or consoling or helping Frodo along his journey, processing everything. No, that was all came from the mind of Bombadil that he stole. And I'm like, why are we doing this? We're 2 seasons deep now. Can we please stop pilfering lines from the book that have no place in this moment, or probably more taking lines from the movie? I think that's what they're trying to do. It makes me so mad. I'm containing it right now. But it makes me so fucking mad when they keep doing this. In season 1, we had the always follow your nose stuff, and that made me just like want to punch through my computer screen. This one hurt though. I mean, in the last episode, was it I think it was the last episode, you had the whole like far green country under a swift sunrise or whatever it was. We've had that one. This one hurts, man. This is like one of my favorite moments from Fellowship of the Ring, is that conversation that Gandalf has with Frodo in the Mines of Moria.
I agree. And people still think that this is a blue wizard. It's not, unfortunately, and
We need to find your Gand.
you know, I'd love to do.
Clue.
Yeah, I wonder what Gand is, but I'm just trying to get the quote before he says that to give it context, because I don't think it matched. So
Probably
right,
like really crowbarred in there somehow.
So this is Gandalf's quote. Somehow I know that unless I find her soon, she will die. Both of them will die. Right, okay. And then Tom Bombadil goes, many that die deserve life. Some that
So he's just like, oh, it's going to happen. Yeah, he's just like, oh, yeah, just let him die.
Yeah, like, who are you to give it to them? Did they not understand that Gandalf, within that scene in The Lord of the Rings, was showing a bit of morality? You know, Frodo was like, oh, pity he didn't kill Gollum. And that's why Gandalf's saying it. Not, oh, I want to save Poppy and Nori. Yeah, fuck him. Let him die. Come on. And I love how, you know, his destiny now is with Nori. You know, that's his fucking goal. It's all about Nori. Yet he left her the last episode when she got flown in the tornado.
Mm-hmm.
He just forgot about her and's been chilling here with Tom Bombadil. But now he's all, oh, I love Nori.
Yeah, he says, is Nori your friend or your destiny? And then, yeah, Tom Bombadil just fucking teleports into the ether like a fart in the wind. And he's, yeah, as someone said earlier, he's like Batman just disappearing. I just put, what is this shit? They're trying so hard to make him like God, or to make him this sort of like figment of Gandalf's imagination kind of thing. Like the whole thing they did with Goldberry, that was such a weird choice as well. I keep thinking about that, how you hear Goldberry's voice, but then she's not there. It almost reminds me a little bit of that scene in The Hobbit where you have that really actually one of the most touching scenes, I think, from, it's kind of artificial a little bit, but I do really like the scene in An Unexpected Journey where right after the White Council, Gandalf's having that conversation with Galadriel and like, why the halfling, that scene. And then it ends where Galadriel actually isn't really there, and it just cuts to a wide shot and she's just like teleported away, and it was all kind of in his mind, I guess. Now, I know that Galadriel has that power. I still think it's really clunkily handled in The Hobbit when they do that scene, and I think she should have just been present in that scene. But there is no excuse for that here with Tom Bombadil. So are we inferring that everything that's transpired here, Tom Bombadil is almost like force projecting himself like Luke Skywalker at the end of The Last Jedi, and it's not actually happening? That Tom Bombadil is some kind of godlike spiritual force that can just appear and disappear to offer life lessons? I don't know what we're trying to say here. And I don't think the showrunners know what they're trying to say. I think they've just latched onto the mystique surrounding Tom Bombadil and just taken it to the nth degree and completely missed the point of what his character is, who he is, and what his power level is. To add like a mystery to it, and it just doesn't work. So I was thinking, so did Tom Bombadil just like run off when it cuts to the wide shot and he's disappeared? He just ran off and he's like hiding behind a rock or something.
Yeah, I don't know. They've not built it up, have they? Really?
No.
And like I say, with Goldberry, one of your female characters that's not in it. I don't know what they're gonna do for Tom Bombadil. Whether they're gonna have a showdown with the Dark Wizard.
I was going to say, do you think he's going to show up again? I think he's going to be done. I think that's it for this season, Tom Bombadil.
Do you think?
We might get like a voice that he hears on the air or something, like a Obi-Wan Kenobi Force Ghost kind of voice, but I don't know. Now you've said that, yeah, he might show up for the final showdown, but I think everything we've seen has been from the trailer, hasn't it, now, with Tom Bombadil?
But it's one of them. If the Dark Wizard is Saruman, and Gandalf and Saruman are on a collision course, then there must be something that needs to happen to rectify that relationship. Because they're close friends up until the point in the two towers. So in
Well, you know, when Galadriel
Fellowship.
should be a mom, she should be with Celeborn. You know, it doesn't. There's many things that should happen and should
Yeah.
be a certain way, and they're not. So who knows?
It's, Elrond's doing a Hugh Edwards.
Oh no! Oh dear! Oh no!
That's your cancellation.
Keep Celebrian off WhatsApp. Yeah, just.
Oh, awful.
Tara Lenia, this is a great comment right here. Says, "Does Gandalf Sky Stranger stay with Tom Yodabadil and learn the ways of mastering the service, the Secret Force? Secret Force, or does he go off to Besmeal and rescue his friends?" That's a great comment. It's really difficult. I'm so used to saying Luke Skywalker. It's really difficult to not say it. God, it's just so bad. Speaking of bad. No, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. We're going deep underground right now. We're going to Khazad-dum, where they are mining gold. And I already went on my rant a couple of episodes ago saying that they didn't mine gold in Khazad-dum. They mined mithril. But here we have lots and lots of gold being mined, and it's all being brought before King Durin, who's become very quickly incredibly covetous and greedy and has been all but corrupted by the ring in record time. Speaking of record time, nothing beats the record time that Anatar takes to all of a sudden show up in Khazad-dum. He's there. We don't even see him enter Khazad-dum. He's already in there. He's already made himself well at home. Eregion's we've already mentioned this in like season 1 where Elrond and Celebrimbor take a road trip, a casual stroll road trip. Again, no horses as far as I can remember, to Khazad-dum. I think in like episode 1 or episode 2 of series 1. And they're doing the same here. Apparently there's no distance between Celebrimbor's gaff and Khazad-dum. And here he is, asking King Durin for more mithril. Where we get a precious name drop in this scene. I can't remember if they've done that already in the 2 seasons. But I think Anatar says something like more precious. And I'm like, I see what you're trying to do there. Don't.
It's an awful scene again, isn't it?
Yeah, so like King Durin, he denies Anatar more mithril. We get that flash of the Balrog in the flames. So I guess they're just going to say that Sauron, Anatar summons the Balrog now, I guess.
Yeah.
Rather than the Balrog being disturbed. I mean, technically, he's already been disturbed by Disa's wonderful singing voice and the magical stone gem palantir thing that rolls down there. The Balrog can already hear them. He was already disturbed, technically, in season 1 when that leaf blows down into the shaft and we see the Balrog. But by the looks of it here, when Anatar gets pissed off that he can't have the mithril, he looks in the fire and it almost looks like he has control of the Balrog. So it wouldn't surprise me if they tie it in that way. Because I already mentioned about the volcano, the volcanic eruption from series 1 being the reason that things are falling from the ceiling and everything in Khazad-dum.
Yeah. I just love the fact that one, it was Anatar that requested Durin's audience within this conversation, but then he ceases to actually involve Durin within the conversation. Like, why has he brought him there? He doesn't even talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he wants the mithril. Why are they bringing him into the conversation? And there's a load of little errors, like continuity errors. So you see that as before this scene, you see a load of gold getting poured in the corridor all along the pathway, and then you cut to a wide shot of Durin walking in, and there's no gold on the floor. You also get the shot where Durin is standing, where he should easily see Anatar before he walks in and has his cue from King Durin, sorry. But then all of a sudden, as soon as the music swells, it's like, okay, he's noticed him. It's like, yeah, there's another cue. I just think I like the Dwarven actors, but fucking what's Halbrand doing there?
Yeah.
And he already knows where the mithril is. You see him grab a load. And how's
Well, yeah,
no
because
one?
later he's got the what does he say, like the unrefined stuff or whatever it is, like the little nuggets of mithril that he's got like in a little cup.
Yeah, and like how's no one seen him? Like seriously, like how's no one seen Anatar create the Balrog? It's awful, isn't it? Like, come on. And boy, we get the reason why they are going to be rebelling in Moria in Khazad-dum. Can't wait. Durin's weak, man. Little Durin's I can't say the word, but he's a coward.
He's crying his little eyes out, isn't he? Bless him.
Yeah, well, apparently the dad is full evil now. King Durin's just gone. He's corrupted fully. How many days has he wore the ring?
Yeah, like an afternoon, maybe. Yeah. Like it's so quick. Speaking of fat bastard, this is actually going to tie with what I'm going to say. So the bit where he pimp slaps him and his son goes flying backwards with like the most awful wire work you've ever seen reminds me of Austin Powers Goldmember. I hope my wire fighting team is ready.
Yes.
Isn't this magical? One of my wires broke. Like, God, yeah.
I mean, like I say, timelines again. How the hell's he found time to work on the Rings of Men, and then he's gone to Khazad-dum, and then he's going to be going back. Like, come on, like
what run? You know,
and this is within one episode.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Oh, like,
oh, it's so shit. It's so like, but they've been doing this. They've been doing this shit since the beginning, man. Literally, like episode 1 of season 1. We shouldn't be surprised, but it just.
See, now my question is: we've already seen we'll get another shot of the Balrog at some point. I thought at first, so I had two sort of theories. I thought it was either going to be one, Sauron's there, and that's how it awakens, he summons it, or somehow Disa would go there and, you know, have a fight with it. But I've got a feeling we will see King Durin die by this Balrog.
Well, you say Disa's going to have a fight with a Balrog?
I'd love that. But I reckon
oh my God. She's going to have a sing-off with it.
Yeah, she's going to scream at it and get those bats to appear. But I can see King Durin dying by the Balrog in this show. I reckon the ring will lead him to that point, and yeah, he'll die.
Well, Prince Durin, even the bit where he's crying, like it does make his character, you know, just look super, like just boo-hoo. But the actor, this was my positive. I've put the actor Prince Durin and even King Durin as well. I like the intensity that King Durin has. Like I like the way that the actor delivers the lines, especially like the madness. It's too quick. It's way too quick. We've already mentioned that, but I do think the actors are really trying. Certainly King Durin and Prince Durin. But that was my positive, and I feel like I used that positive a couple of episodes ago. So maybe I need to find a different one, but that was going to be my positive for this. And yeah, my next note is Disa has daddy issues. She's like, Prince Durin, like King Durin was more of a father to me than my own. I was like, oh,
what? Have we seen that on screen?
Nope.
Have we seen them having a bond?
I tell you who else is going to have like parent issues as well. Apparently they're 2 disembodied children, which we still haven't seen all season. And it's really weird and uncomfortable now.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a single moment. They've mentioned them once, I think, when they had like the initial when Prince Durin had an initial falling out with his dad. I think he asked about the grandkids, and she's just like, "Oh, they missed their granddad," but we haven't seen them, and we didn't even see them properly in season 1. They had like these big clunky dwarven helmets on. So I don't know. I get weird vibes about those 2 kids they have. It's like the lost souls of 2 children in the mines or something. It's just really uncomfortable.
Yeah. I mean, it smells a bit like Jerry McCann. Something's going on. Although they did mention, actually, it was the episode where they dropped, you know, the gift and it rolled and Disa screamed. They mentioned that gift was for their birthday.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's
and
right. Yeah, they do. Yeah.
They mentioned it was for their daughter.
Legitimately, when all shit hits the fan at the end of this season and the Balrogs rampaging through Khazad-dum, I guarantee we don't see the kids still. There's not going to be a scene where it's like, no, I need to go back and get our kids. Like, I think they're just not going to be mentioned. I think they're going to forget about them.
I don't know how this storyline concludes,
Well, I think we see the Balrog breaking out. It looks like it breaks outside the mountain, doesn't it? Or it's climbing up the mine shaft or something. We see.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like it breaks out and free falls and then like catches itself like Errol Flynn with a knife, like with the flaming sword.
Yeah, but like, are we gonna have a cliffhanger for this season with their storyline? Are they gonna overthrow? I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I think they're just going to be cast adrift. The timelines aren't going to match up though at all. So I don't know. I'm trying to think book wise, and it ain't going to go that way. It can't go that way because we've fundamentally changed it so much at this point.
I'm not gonna lie with you, mate. I didn't mind Disa in season 1.
No, she was all right. I mean, my problems I have about, you're convoluting the geographical locations of the world and everything and the races and the ethnicities and whatnot. That aside, the actress did a solid job. Like, honestly, like the Khazad-dum stuff was probably the stuff I enjoyed the most in season 1. Had a lot of problems. I ain't going to say it didn't, but it was probably the best stuff.
I agree. I can't stand her now.
Yeah.
I hate her scenes.
I still think she's going to use the ring at some point.
Oh, do you reckon she has a fight with the Balrog?
I reckon
ring, she's just like uppercutting it.
Yeah, it's like in Avengers Endgame where Captain Marvel shows up and Thanos puts the Power Stone on and just like sucker punches her. It's going to be that scene. She's going to fight with the Balrog, wear this, and oof.
Oh.
Knock it clean the fuck out. No, I think what happens is I think the Balrog rampages. I think King Durin dies. The ring goes astray. Disa finds it and pockets it and won't say anything about it. I think that's how we're going to end it.
Oh,
that's my prediction. Right. That's everything I have on that at the moment. Do we come back to... No, I think that's it, isn't it? I'm pretty sure that's it for Khazad-dum. Back to Numenor, and we have the scene from Braveheart where William Wallace is in a jail cell, and Elendil's daughter tries to plea with her father to see sense and to welcome Ar-Pharazôn with open arms, and he's being stubborn and he won't allow it. And I think Miriel's there, right? She brings Miriel before her, and Miriel's there and says, I just called to say I love you. And they have a little moment, and yeah, it's all really bad. Is it at this moment she says, right, I'm going to take your place, or does she wait until the moment right before the execution to do that?
Right before the execution. If you haven't noticed already, they are shipping Miriel and Elendil, the power couple. And also she's meant to be teaching him everything that he knows about leadership. But yeah, it was just weird. Like, you have this moment where Elendil is like hugging his daughter. It's like, oh, that's sad. He loves his daughter now. She's crying. I don't know why. I don't care about her, to be honest with you. And then she's like, swallow your pride. And then he snaps and he's like, fuck you. Like, if you think this is all about pride, then you're lost. Like, I have no more words to say. He's basically cutting her off. Like, Jesus Christ, Elendil, calm down. But again, like, the actors, I don't think the actor's bad. I just think it's shit, to be honest. Like, the general scene, and you have Miriel just wander in, like, who's guiding her?
You just hear her smacking against the wall.
Like, she's got no stick. She's just there, just staring in one direction. As blind people, they keep their eyes straight. And yeah, she says again that the Numenorians need him, and he still won't listen. So she has to act on that. But I just don't care why they're shipping these. Why?
Mm-hmm. Everyone's getting shipped this season. We got Estrid and Isildur. We got Miriel and Elendil. We've got Celebrimbor and Anatar. You know, everyone's getting
Yeah,
shipped.
everyone's having a
Anatar
go.
and what's her face? Medania.
Yeah, Poppy and Harvey Price. We're all going for it.
Oh my god. God, can you imagine the offspring? Jesus Christ.
Oh God.
Doesn't bear thinking about, does it? Anon says, why did the daughter side with Weedy Boy against her dad? Are they meant to be betrothed or something in season 1?
Are they?
Or, I don't know, did they set up... I feel like something was set up in season 1, but season 1's just so incredibly forgettable that I can't even remember. Shit, I can't remember shit that happened in this episode that we're talking about right now. You expected me to remember something back in season 1? I don't know. I thought they mentioned something. I thought there was some kind of connection there, but...
Didn't... I don't know, to be honest. Sorry about that. It's just a load of shit, isn't it? It's just muddled.
And then we leave that scene, and then we cut back to... Oh, no, we do cut back to Khazad-dum. How could I forget this scene? The scene that made me piss myself laughing. Oh my God. I couldn't believe what I was seeing with this. This reminded me of something like straight out of Star Wars Acolyte. This was on that caliber. I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. So you have Na'vi and a group of dwarves that rock up, and Disa's blocking the way, and she's like, "You shall not pass." And she stands her ground. And she kind of like she's about to do a hacker. She like stamps her feet a couple of times, doesn't she? And then she's like, "Ah!" You know, she does her crazy like singing thing. But she starts kind of small, and it's really cringe and terrible. And then what happens is glorious. She erupts into song, as she is wont to do. And a flock of bats show up, and all the dwarves get really scared and start running out. I'm like, you are miners and craftsmen of the mountain halls. You have tunneled every chasm, every chamber in this fucking mountain. And what, you're terrified of bats now? Surely they would have seen bats. And they're like, oh, right. And, you know, they all flee. And then, you know, they will be back and in greater numbers. And then you get that really terrible line where Prince Durin just teleports out of nowhere and he's there and he's like, I love you. And she's like, love me later. And I'm like, oh, get out of my head. I don't want to picture that. Get out of my head.
I just...
And then says she is the penguin. That show's out now, by the way, as well. The Penguin. I'm gonna have to try and review that at some point if I can fit it in.
When I saw her screeching, I'm like, what the heck is this?
I lost it.
Like,
I totally lost it.
Like, why is she doing this? And I love how it's meant to be like, oh, she's so empowered, she's so amazing, she's standing alone, her husband won't even stand next to her. Why isn't he there? Like, what's he doing?
Mm-hmm.
And why don't the bats attack her?
I know.
And again, like, they're flying over the dwarfs. Like, why don't they just come back as soon as they're gone? Just drop low and they've gone. And, you know, she's like, oh, they'll be back next time. Like, what are they going to do?
Summon more bats? Just keep doing it?
Yeah.
Like, these bats were bred for one purpose. For war, and then just summon like another flock of them.
You're gonna have a scene where, you know, there's a load of dwarfs there, and they're gonna inspire them to, you know, to stand up because they'll probably get dragged away or something like that. I don't know what they're gonna do with it, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
It just, I don't know, mate. It just feels so shit, and Disa's just so OP now. Why?
Hey, no, I'm with you. I want to see her take on the Balrog. I want them both on the bridge of Khazad-dum in exactly the same place that Gandalf was, and I just want her to like stomp her feet a couple of times and sing at the Balrog. Make it happen. That's what I want. That's going to be my season finale dreams.
Yes.
Disa versus the Balrog.
And I don't know what they're going to do with little Durin. He's so weak now. He wasn't this weak, surely, in season 1.
He was like cleaving through. He had like a challenge with like a machismo challenge at the beginning, didn't he, with Elrond? where they were breaking
Yeah.
through stone.
Yeah, but then apparently he's done no work in this season and has blisters.
Mm-hmm. He's
Like,
never
what?
toiled in the mines before. He's never got his hands dirty because he's a prince.
Well, he has. We see him in the last season.
Exactly. Nothing about it makes up. Nothing about it makes sense. We then cut back to Numenor, and Elendil's being led to the seafront, where he is going to be cast into the sea and sacrificed to the sea worm because of his treason. And Miriel steps forward again. I don't think she has a guide, does she? She's just blankly staring.
It's worse than that, mate. If you see the shot, so you follow a drone shot that shows the whole of the stairs, and it's quite steep. There's no handlebars, there's no rails, and she isn't with the crowd on that wide shot.
Right.
And then, you hear them blow the horns, which was actually another positive note. I actually like the sound of those horns. Like, that was going to be my positive of the episode, just that. But then you have Elendil, they bring him forward, and I love to see the extras in the background. Like, please rewatch that scene. There's one woman behind Elendil that's like, take him, kill him. It's like, oh my God. But she apparently wanders all the way down those steps with no guide. No guide at all. And she's going to be the hero of the scene. It's not Elendil. He won't be sacrificing himself. It is Miriel.
The chosen one.
The chosen one.
Wearing all white.
Yeah.
Virginal and pure and like an angel and yeah.
Like, come on, like, why? Surely shouldn't she be in jail by now, by the way? They've got this ruthlessness of a rule and she's just wandering around freely.
Yeah, I don't get what Ar-Pharazôn's long game is here, because it seems like he wants to completely rip out, root, weed, and stem the old ways, the Queen Regent and Elendil and the faithful and everything like that. He wants to stomp all of that out. You think that he would imprison her, but I don't know. Maybe imprisoning the Queen Regent is bad for press. So, yeah, I really don't know what's happening with this.
But he's already got the people on side, well, for a short time, because they're all baying for Elendil's blood. But no, apparently after this scene, they're all like, "Oh, we're all good, Miriel and Elendil, woo woo." But this was the scene in the trailer. I did not expect it to go down like this, to be honest with you.
No,
I don't know what they're playing at. They want them dead. He's meant to be sneaky and all evil. Just kill him, like, smartly. But no, they've written themselves into a hole. We had that scene where they chuck her in.
Mm-hmm.
And the Valar fish just decides, you know what? She's pure. She's innocent.
I guess
just she is.
Just leave it to the mythical beasts of Middle Earth to decide everything on Numenor, apparently. The eagle rocks up to the window. Oh, that guy's king. Oh, well, the Kraken decides that it's not hungry at the moment and I'm going to let you live. Oh, that means they're the chosen one and pure and chosen by the Valar on high. I
just love how it's like, oh, she's pure of heart. She's innocent. Of course she's innocent. She ain't on trial.
Yeah.
It should be him. But no, he just stands back. He doesn't really fight, to be honest. He does the face of like, no, don't do it. But he's not really resisting.
No, please come back. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, oh no, my queen. What?
The sea is always right.
Oh, he says that as well, doesn't he, in this episode? Imagine if they kill her, like, during that scene, and it's like, oh, well, the sea's always right.
Always right.
His
wife died by drowning. The sea is always right.
Yeah. And so they've made it out. She's safe now after holding her breath for so long. And, she's all good, and Ar-Pharazôn is annoyed. But did you hear actually about the production problems with this shot?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it's so funny. So I think this is shot in England or somewhere.
Yeah.
And they kept on delaying this scene because they kept on getting the weather forecast wrong. Full of shot, like the water was too rough, but I don't think they checked the forecast, so they kept on having to delay, and they put this in their BTS. And I'm like, why the fuck would you screen that? You're basically saying that your production team, your researchers are shite.
There's a very simple way to do this, you know. There are many websites that have the weather forecasts and just fucking predict that shit, you know.
Yeah, and oh mate, and then they're allowed to wander off freely.
Yes, yeah, all good. Everything's
done.
all good. Yeah.
Like, wow. I love how she's not died of, you know, not in shock of hypothermia, or, you know, she doesn't even look drowned.
No.
She literally wakes
isn't
up.
she lovely? Yeah.
And then he's like, "Hail, Tar Miriel, Queen of the Sea." Isn't that treason again?
Yeah.
He's committed it again, straight out of the bat.
Blasphemer! Yeah.
Yes, like, he's literally been on trial because he's, you know, he said that Muriel's the queen, and then he's gone and said it again.
I do like when she rocks up and she says, like, it is old Numenorian law that I might step in for his crimes. And then Ar-Pharazôn turns to his advisor, keeper of the books. He's like, can she do that? And he's like scrolling through pages in the book, like, apparently there's an old custom, some bullshit old custom where, yeah, someone can do that.
Yeah, madness. But
And
we get Ar-Pharazôn.
Ar-Pharazôn looks into the Palantir and it goes like all Doctor Strange and fragmented and everything.
But it's leading up that he's seeing Halbrand. So we know what's going to happen then. Mm-hmm. He's going to be the main plot in season 3, and they won't change the actor.
He'll be back in the old wig again now.
Yes. Oh, just awful. Although I didn't mind that effect on the Palantir. I didn't mind it, to be fair.
It's different, I suppose. I like the more just subtle hand over it and weird ambient sounds going on. But this is a bit more visual, I suppose. Yeah, it is what it is. Right, and we get to the last scene. We have Adar and Galadriel again, and Adar releases her. And he reaffirms that he wants a home for his murderous, corrupted, disgusting dregs of life, if you can even call it that, for his army of orcs. Because we know they're family man orcs now, and there's baby orcs, and there's mama orcs, and everyone's one big happy, murderous, terrifying family, and he just wants a home for them. And Adar shows Galadriel the enormity of his army. I was wondering where that sentence was going then for a second. And he blows the horn. Oh God, where's that sentence going? Blows the horn of war. What's really funny though, he leads her to. It kind of reminds me of the scene in Return of the King, where Theoden and Aragorn are stood on top of the cliff face, and he's, you know, like 6,000 spears, less than half of what I hoped for. It's kind of like that scene. But the difference between that scene and this scene is that scene's in daylight, and you can actually see the enormity of the army. In this one, he like says, "Witness my army," and I don't know if it was like the brightness on my screen or if it is just a naturally really, really dark scene. You kind of see like a couple of pockets of bonfires and torches light up. And I was just like, well, I guess there's just meant to be a lot out there. But it's not like that moment like in Two Towers, where Saruman leads Grima Wormtongue to the balcony of Orthanc, and you get that immense jaw-dropping moment where you witness the enormity of the Uruk-hai army that is about to send to Helm's Deep. It kind of reminded me of Game of Thrones Season 8, where you have the whole Winterfell fight, and it's all in pitch darkness, and you can barely see a thing. I mean, I know the orcs want to move under the cover of night. When it suits them in this show. But I feel like it was meant to be this epic, majestic shot where Galadriel looks out in horror and wonder at the enormity of Adar's army. But you never really get that as a viewer because it's barely legible on screen.
Yeah, and her facial expressions looks like she's holding in her shit. But mate, this scene is worse. I hated this scene, to be honest with you. Galadriel is a fucking idiot. this scene got me angry. She tells Adar their plan without no resistance. She's like, "Oh, Elrond's heading to Lindon with the army, and Celebrimbor's got we've got the Elven rings. We've got 3 rings of power." And what was the first bit she says was, "Yes, Halbrand is Sauron. He's in Eregion to craft rings that will allow him to dominate my kind." Fucking straight off the bat. "And yours, every kind in Middle Earth. How the fuck does she know this?" Like, how? And she's saying that gives them an advantage because they know his plan. How do they know his plan?
Yeah, did they read the script as well?
I know. And she's like, "As we speak now, Elrond hastens from Lindon with an army of elves."
He's running. They're all running. Yeah. No horses. Well, we know there's horses. Surprisingly, maybe that's where all the horses were at. That's why they don't have any more horses. There's a shortage of Mithril and there's a shortage of horses in Middle Earth. That's why they got to run everywhere.
It's like, this is meant to be one of the wisest people in Middle Earth. This is your commander of the Northern armies. You've just given your enemy your fucking plan. Yeah. How stupid can you be?
She spills all the beans, all of them.
And then she's shocked that he's like, "Oh yeah, now I know your plan. I know what you're doing, and we're going to attack." This is the man who wants to settle down with the orcs. He wants a nice family life. He wants to look after them, whilst bringing trebuchets.
Yeah,
awful.
Adar, must we go to war? Can we not feed the children? Hard cut, manning trebuchets. You know, like we're back to it. Back to the orcs that we know, those lovely family man orcs. Yeah.
And I love the fact, like, she's saying, "Oh, you know, this is Sauron's plan that you go and attack Eregion." And I love how he spent the whole time saying, like, that, "Oh, you've fallen into Sauron's plan." And yet he still wants to attack Eregion.
Yeah.
Like, he's such a fucking idiot. And you have this scene where, you know, that pacifist orc is like not willing to hand over the torch, and they have a throwback to the scene in Return of the King where you see all of the lights, you know, the signal goes up and then you see the fires go, and that's the signal. And yeah, Galadriel again, will she face any consequences? No. But that scene really, really angered me. And at some point, we're going to be having a fight between Adar, Galadriel, and Sauron with Morgoth's crown.
Well, in the we only see Galadriel and Sauron fighting, so I don't think Adar makes it out of this one.
No, he definitely isn't. And so they attack fucking Eregion. Oh, and you have the scene where Galadriel's being dragged away, and she's like, "You mustn't. This is all his design." And you look at her face, it's like, Jesus Christ. Please, if you watch it back, just pause it at any moment. She looks ill. She really does. And this orc is like full on like, "Oh, I'm on her side." Awful.
I actually feel I don't think I've used a single Galadriel image yet for the thumbnails. I did when we had the trailers, when we did the trailer reactions, but I don't think I've done any yet for the show. I'm going to have to check, but I'm hoping there's an absolute zinger of a Galadriel face. I don't think anything's going to come close to her riding a horse face from season 1, or the bit where she has a shout off with Sauron in the season finale of season 1. Oh, you know, the close up. Yeah,
mate, we've got another great scene. The last scene after this.
Anatar. That's my next note. The whole stuff with Celebrimbor and Anatar.
Yeah. Oh God.
So Erigion's preparing for attack under the cover of night, I might add. Very important to remember what time of day it is here. We get a scene of. It's actually so uncanny how close that is, though, isn't it? That's what's terrifying about it.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Yeah, Anatar cuts his own hand, and then Celebrimbor I'm trying not to look at it because it's going to set me off. Celebrimbor grows a pair, and he actually squares up to Anatar and he shoves him into a wall, and he's like, I'll harm you and stuff. And then Anatar creates an illusion in the courtyard. So Celebrimbor's like, screw this, I'm going home, and he leaves. It's under the cover of night, by the way. And he leaves, and everything's in broad fucking daylight. And all the screaming and shouting and manning of arms outside dissolves away, and everything's a beatific, idyllic courtyard of elven children and sweet elven maidens, and everything's fine, and everyone's frolicking and having a great time. Utterly perplexing scene. It's so random, and he does all of this in aid to keep Celebrimbor exactly where he wants him, right? This elaborate illusion, master of illusions now apparently too, to keep him there to work on the rings.
Oh, I mean,
with a lot of Zack Snyder slow-mo shots in this scene. The one in particular is where it kind of like materializes back to nighttime, and he walks in slow motion. He's like,
yeah,
and then it goes into like normal motion again. I was like, what? Can we stop trying to do the Zack Snyder thing? When Zack Snyder does it all the time, it pisses me off. But like, it has no place in Lord of the Rings, please.
I'm so sorry. I've got to go a little bit further back.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
What the fuck are those drawings of the rings?
Oh,
that
God,
looks like
year
year 7 bottom set. No wonder they aren't working. Look at that. Absolutely awful.
Not about that, yeah.
And
no, you're right.
You see him sketching them, and he just crosses one out. He's like, no, that doesn't work. And like you say, he actually grew a pair for a minute. And then he's like, oh, I can hear the siege alarms. Goes to check it out. Then Sauron comes in, and then they have the fight. And then obviously they go out in the courtyard, and he's saying, like, Luke, you can surpass Feanor's reputation, and Celebrimbor's hoot straight away. He's like, oh, yes, I can. Forgets completely about the siege alarms. And you see, Eregion, fully diverse. I don't know what happened in the space of then the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings. What some cleansing happened.
There's literally a shot of 3 elven children sat next to each other. One white, one Asian, one black. I was like, wow. Okay. I get it, Amazon. Okay. Fuck me.
It's like, we know you can be what you want to be. Come on.
All sense of world building just goes out the fucking window, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I just love the thought of, because you see once they snap out the vision that Anatar's always been there, like they were in that courtyard throughout all that time. I would just love to see the opposite side of, you see all this chaos happening, and you just see Celebrimbor walking, smiling, like looking as all these people are in a panic, and he's just like dazed, just like, oh, this is amazing. Like,
was it explained why Sauron cut his hand? Was it so he could do that illusion? Was it some kind of like blood magic or something he was doing, or?
I don't know. Was it to put it into the mithril?
Well, that's what I thought, and I thought, oh, well, he mixes his own blood. I think this was a concept in the Lord of the Rings films that got cut out. There was a shot in Fellowship of the Ring that I've never seen before, and I've seen the film countless times, and there was a video on YouTube I watched, and it's the scene in the prologue where, Sauron in secret forged a master ring, and he stood in Mount Doom, and he's like lifted his hand up like that. He's actually holding a dagger in the other hand, which I never noticed. Like, it's really cool, badass design dagger. And there was a line of dialogue that was removed from the Council of Elrond where Gandalf says that Sauron mingled his own blood into the ring as well, which is why it's part of him and his life force. So when he cut his hand, I thought, are we doing the one ring already? Like, is he going to mingle his blood with the ring? But I'm guessing, because his eyes kind of like glaze over, don't they? They go like black pupils in his eyes, and I'm guessing it was some like magic shit that he was doing, perhaps.
Yeah. Do you like the line that they have 1/9 worth of mithril for each
Mm.
ring. So yeah, that's great. And I love how they say powder, mithril powder. Yeah, they're big chunks.
Yeah, it's like little ball bearings, isn't it?
Yeah. And we had to rinse Fëanor's name and his hammer. And yeah, just we've got Anatar who's going to be causing a ruckus in the next episode, bearing in mind they have to finish the Rings of Men within the next episode. How are they going to do this?
Yeah, I've got one more line at the end just to cap it all off, but they've been doing this for 2 seasons now. Why are all the orcs wearing capes? I thought initially it was to sort of shroud, lift it up like a vampire in case they get in the sunlight, but it's nighttime. Why are they all wearing capes?
That's actually a good point.
Well, I mean, I guess the fighting might go to the morning, and they've, if daylight comes out, then they've got them handy. But it's when you're used to a look of like the whole like hodgepodged armor, thrown together kind of bits of leather and chunks of metal that the orcs usually have for armor, but then you see them all with like capes and cloth capes, half capes. It looks a little bit strange to me. That's the last note that I have on it. I was just taken aback by the capes because they're all wearing them, all of them.
I have one more note.
Mm-hmm.
This is a comment from Bear McCreary.
Right.
So it was during that scene, you see Sauron lifting his arms and you hear the music go up. Now, that was intentional because I think it was Patrick McKay or JD Payne said that, Sauron, he wants him to be the orchestra. Who's the one who like
the
dictates
conductor?
Yeah. He was like conducting the scene, all of these events, he's conducted this. So you see him raise his arms up and you hear the music go up and they were like, oh yeah, that's clever. And I just thought, that's so cringy. Like, how shit is that? He's conducted this. How?
Yeah.
Like,
he hasn't at all. Yeah.
Master manipulator. Wow. And yeah, that was my last note on the episode. I really hated it, to be honest. I think nothing will top for me so far episode 4.
That's probably the worst one for me of both seasons.
Yeah.
I'd rank it up there. This one is very close to it. It's very close to it. It contains all the same ingredients that episode did, which is probably why we feel as strongly as we did about it. Yeah, God. So the next episode is going to be the all-out war one. This is what I mean. It can't be 2 solid episodes. It can't be. Like, they bigged it up. Maybe like 1 episode and then it sort of trails off into like the first act of episode 8. But I'm even thinking of Damrod, like how much they've bigged up this character. We've had 1 scene of him so far. And he hasn't really done anything. He just kind of stood there and they went, this is Damrod. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. That's it. So, he's going to be doing a lot of smashing. He's going to be doing a lot of killing and stomping on people and hitting people and whatnot. And the shills will be out in droves next week. I guarantee they'll be going, oh my God, this is the best fighting we've seen since the Two Towers or something. Or we'll see articles that saying the fighting in this is way better than anything Peter Jackson did in his films. All those articles that come out. We're going to see so many of them. It'd be like, again, it's like The Acolyte. It's so similar to the Star Wars The Acolyte in that it was it's honestly one of the worst shows I've ever seen in terms of writing and directing, choreography, everything. But there was 1 episode that was an entire lightsaber fight for like 20 minutes or half hour or something. And people going, oh my God, this was so cool because lightsabers and fighting. And it always feels like that's the showrunners going for broke at the very end. When the show isn't sticking, it's like, oh, let's just do this action, fighting and slashing and whatever, and that'll win people over. But you can just see straight through it. Like, the fighting should not be the be-all and end-all. It's the fighting and the action is enhanced by the characters and the story and the good writing that we've had before it, which we're not going to have. But yeah, I don't know how much we're going to have to say on the next episode. We'll find out in a week's time, but we'll be here to comment on it. Again, my eyes are going to be on the extras in the background the whole time. I want to see people missing their marks, missing their cues, attacking one at a time, completely just missing people. I'm going to be looking out for all of that stuff. But we're going to have our death metal Damrod song, the Ballad of Damrod.
Yes, Arondir is going to be there.
The Asian elf who gets peppered with that. They're going to do a Boromir scene with that, aren't they? She's going to get hit with one arrow and keep on fighting, and then she's going to get hit with a second arrow and keep on fighting.
Yeah, they are, and who's gonna care?
Yeah,
seriously, like when you think and you look back and you think, oh, we've had the Power Rangers, and it's like, where's that gone? Nowhere. Useless characters that will die, and it'll be like, oh no. Yeah, I don't care. But
it'll be the Jeremy Clarkson meme. It's like, oh no. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, when you think about it as well, within the next 2 episodes, a big character will be kicking the bucket.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how they're going to handle that.
Well, with probably as the deft tact that they've already demonstrated for 2 seasons, I'm sure. Honestly, I can't stop staring at that Yaddle picture. It's strangely hypnotic, isn't it? Like, it's just...
If you look, honestly...
Like, it's corrupt. Yeah. I know.
He's got his hair, he's got his thin lips, his ears, his docile look. It's Celebrimbor.
I can't remember who said that in the comments, but it's so true. That's amazing.
That's a meme that's sticking now. Him and Mama Clump. They are definitely staying in.
Absolute season favorites for me at the moment, those 2. I know we're going to get so much more. We've got 2 more episodes. So that we one more for the road. There we go. That's the encore. Right, that'll do it for episode 6. So onwards to episode 7. We don't have a title for it just yet, I don't think. We do have a proposed runtime. I think it's like, did you say it was 1 hour and 10? Or maybe that's the finale. But whatever it is, we'll be watching it. We'll be taking plenty of notes on it, and we will be reporting back in a week's time. So I just want to say a big thank you to everyone that's joined us in the comments tonight. This is one of the best reasons to do this. I mean, we're going to talk about it anyway, but it's nice for people to watch and comment along and share in our collective pain. But it's always a pleasure being joined with everyone and reading all your comments and everything. So thank you for spending a couple of hours out of your Saturday evening to watch us talk about the Rings of Power. Before we round off, everything in Middle Earth, let people know what you've got coming up.
Yeah, so I am working on my episode 6 review. That'll be on my YouTube channel at Everything in Middle Earth. It should be out tomorrow, around about 4 o'clock. So yeah, I hold nothing back. I was angry, so I recorded it and I've just left it in. So I've got that, and then hopefully we'll be doing more streams and having more therapy. And I was thinking, actually, are we going to be doing a season 1 wrap up stream, like, a season 2 review of the whole season? Because I think that would be fun.
That crossed my mind earlier as well. Yeah, because we did that for season 1, didn't we? So yeah, I think we can do that. I think we'll get the finale done, and then we'll maybe the week after or so we'll do the season 2 in a nutshell and speculation for season 3. That'd be good to do.
Oh, I've just seen a comment, man.
Let's have a look.
Like, HLB, 6 more years of this.
Oh God, isn't that the most depressing fucking feeling in the world?
Yeah.
What is going to be really interesting though, so 2025 is the year off. 2026 also the year, apparently, as the Hunt for Gollum. So you're going to have 2 competing companies the same year.
Ooh.
Tolkien stuff. So expect the trailer to come out for Rings of Power, and then immediately afterwards, Warner Brothers release the trailer for the Hunt for Gollum or something, which apparently is going to be 2 movies now. I've heard rumors.
Really?
Yeah, they haven't learned anything from The Hobbit, have they?
Fucking Chuck Toriel in. Why not?
Yeah. Well, the Woodland Realm, isn't it? So she'll be around. What's Angelina Lilly doing at the moment? Or did she retire from acting? Actually, I thought she retired, but
I'm not sure.
The money's
I think the last thing I saw her in was Ant-Man.
Oh God, yeah,
that great movie.
Quantumania.
Yeah.
Oof.
I'm
sorry.
very curious actually to see what the viewership drop off's been,
Mm-hmm.
because I can't see there being the same amount of people watching a season 3 in another 2 years' time. And then you've got to think you've got another 2 seasons after that. They've already had a massive drop off from 1 to 2. So hey ho, who knows?
Thing is, though, Amazon aren't short of money, are they? I
Yes.
mean, the whole streaming thing with TV shows is really just second fiddle to everything else Amazon have got going on as a company. So they've got the money where they could just be stubborn enough and just bulldoze their way through it and do all 5 seasons. It's no skin off their nose. But I think we're absolutely getting a season 3. And then I think if it continues to drop off, I think we're going to get a heavily condensed season 4 and season 5. Maybe of like 4 or 5 episodes each, perhaps.
The thing is, though, mate, you think of how much story they've got to chuck in. You've got to have the fall of Numenor. You've got to have Elendil and the Isildur.
Next season.
Yeah, they've got to be come over and establish realms in Middle Earth. You've got to have the Battle of the Last Alliance, like all of these events.
Yeah.
How are they going to do it?
They'll go through it lightning fast, like they have everything else with all the rings. So 4 episodes, 5 episodes, and we've created all the rings pretty much near enough.
Oh, God,
They'll just do that. Anon says, cast Greta Thunberg, no makeup as Gollum.
Yes. We can do that.
Oh, Lord. Anyway, that'll do it for our review on the Rings of Power. If you haven't done so already, if you're watching this stream after the fact, let us know your thoughts on the Rings of Power. What were there any positives in this episode? We're trying. We're really trying to come up with one positive every week. It's difficult sometimes, but we're trying. Anything regarding the Lord of the Rings of Power, speculation for the next 2 episodes, thoughts, hopes, dreams, anything you want, let us know. And please do consider subscribing to the channel for more movie reviews, discussions, and live streams just like these ones. So when am I going to be live next? Monday for the next Disney review. That's with Dale, the Disney retrospective that we're doing, talking about the wonderful and oh so memorable film Chicken Little, which I have watched. Probably won't be a long stream, but there you go. And then on Tuesday, me and Dale are doing another Star Wars review, Empire Strikes Back. Now that's going to be a good one. Plenty to talk about on that one. And also, I wanted to try and get something out tomorrow because tomorrow is the 20th anniversary of the first episode of Lost, which was a TV show that was very near and dear to my heart from the year of, 2004 to 2010. But unfortunately, I'm away tomorrow. But next weekend, 1 week late maybe, I do have a very special video planned for everyone, which I guess I can announce now. I need to try and get everything ready for it. I've got 1 week to do it, so it's going to be down to the wire, but I've got a very special collaboration planned, and it's going to be a quiz. It's going to be a Lost quiz. The people spoke. I didn't know whether to just do a live stream talking about it or whether to bring the quizzes back. I am bringing the quizzes back. It's going to be 60 questions, 10 questions per season for Lost, maybe a bonus one in there or 2. But that's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of work getting it ready. I need to comb through 120 episodes of Lost at breakneck speed to get 10 questions down for each season. But I can do it. And I'm going to be joined with a fellow Lost fan on that one. And it's going to be really cool. So check that out next weekend. Right. I think that's everything. There's a boxing match on soon. So we're going to sign off now. But take care, everyone. Thank you very much for jumping on tonight. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Take care, everyone.